From architecture to painting and sculpture, literature to live music and theater, Radio 111 presents The Desert Scene, your connection to culture and entertainment in the desert cities. Here's Bonnie G.
And welcome to The Desert Scene. I'm your host, Bonnie G, here with my wonderful producer, Brian Mendoza. And we're so happy to welcome to the show Dan Gelfand, who has written this wonderful show called Mid-Century Moderns, which is, if you missed it before, it's coming back to Oscars for Modernism Week. Hi, Dan. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, Bonnie.
So, this is exciting. So, first of all, it started out at Desert Rose Playhouse, wonderful run there. Then it came to Oscars in December, and now it's coming back again for Modernism Week. So tell us, for folks who haven't had a chance to see it, and I highly recommend that you do, tell us a little bit about the show.
Thank you. We're coming back in January. We have 2 dates in January at Oscars.
Oh, excellent.
That we just did. Yeah, on the 26th and 27th. As well as during Modernism Week on the 21st and 22nd of February. So we have 4 dates coming up in between January and February.
Okay.
And a bunch of dates in April. So
excellent.
Yeah. So the show is a jukebox musical. It consists of songs from the 1960s, pop songs that everyone knows and loves that were popular during that era, the mid-60s. But it's an original story. The book was the story arc was created by myself and Mark Christopher, and we co-created it. And then Mark went and wrote the book for the show. Mm-hmm. So it's actually written by Mark, and then he directed the production at Oscars recently, and I produced it. So the show is about a mid-century widow from Wisconsin, Mary Ann, whose husband has died and left her an insurance policy. She's been held down her whole life, like many women of that era. Mm-hmm. And she was basically a housewife that cooked and cleaned for her husband. And with her husband's death, she finds newfound freedom and decides she wants to change her life and move to California. Because that's where everything is happening in the mid-60s, at least in her mind. Mm-hmm. And so she packs up her car and travels across the country and meets a gentleman along the way who could be bad news, perhaps, or we have to discover that in the show. Mm-hmm. But their car breaks down in Palm Springs, and she meets a cast of characters in Palm Springs, and adventures ensue. So
it's a very, very fun show. I got to see it. I actually got to review it back at Desert Rose, and I thought it was fabulous. Now, I know that you've had, because I know a lot of the folks in the cast, and a couple of folks in the cast had some medical issues. I know Robbie Wayne, God bless him, had a heart attack, and he's recovering. He's doing okay. Dana Atkins had some issues. So tell us who's in there. I know Christine Tringali Nunez is still in the cast. Tell us about the cast.
Yes, Christine plays Mary Ann, and she is an amazing performer. She does everything. Yeah. She sings, acts, does comedy, physical comedy. Yeah. She's very much like a Lucille Ball.
Yeah.
I mean, she does everything, and she has charisma and an amazing look, and she just knocks everybody out. We're so happy and lucky to have her in the show because she carries it on her slim shoulders, and she's amazing. James Owens, who was in the original production, stepped in and took over Robbie's role, as well as one of the other characters that he was playing. Okay. So many of the supporting cast members, of course, play two parts in the show. And James plays 2 parts. We have Carlos Garcia, who was in our original show. He is a young actor from the desert here and in the valley, and he's amazing as Ricky. And the bartender. We have a new classmate of Carlos's, Joseph Portolis, who stepped in and is playing Michael, and he is amazing and just a delight. And audiences have really responded to him in that role. Gary Powers returns as Ernie, the ghost of her dead husband, and he's great. And he also has a dual role. I won't give it away, but he plays another part, which is a lot of fun. And we have a new Mrs. Honeyhouse since Dana had her medical issues, and unfortunately, and hopefully we'll come back to the show at a future date. But Heather Joy has been playing Mrs. Honeyhouse.
Great. Heather's wonderful.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I know Heather.
Yeah,
she's terrific.
She's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, if I recall correctly, wasn't this loosely kind of based on an aunt or someone in your life that you knew, or a family member of Mark's?
Mark's. Yeah, Mark had a cousin whose name is Marianne, and her storyline loosely follows Marianne's in that she was also married, a 50s housewife, and divorced her husband actually, and found newfound freedom in that action, and kind of became a mid-century modern, if you will, a 60s woman, liberated from the past. And the Marianne struggle in the show, of course, is the push and pull of her freedom. She still, has affection for Ernie, even though it was not the happiest of marriages. Right. And she has some guilt along the way in terms of embracing this freedom and making her choices and being independent. There's the ghost of Ernie's keeps telling her, what would the girls say back home about what you're doing? And she is conflicted about that. And I think a lot of women from that era had conflicts.
Absolutely.
And taking steps forward and being independent and going against what society had always dictated. And that's something that the show addresses in a very fun and, not overstated way, but it's the undercurrent to the show.
Right. Right. So tell us, Dan, give us just a little couple highlights of your career before this. Some of the other things that shows you've been involved in.
Well, this is my first stage show. I worked in entertainment business in L.A. for, close to 35 years, and did marketing, PR, advertising for movies and TV. Worked on a lot of well-known movies and some television shows, and worked for studios and independent companies and over those years.
Excellent.
I also got into development and production. Mark and I actually had a musical reality show years ago on the Oprah Winfrey Network called Real Life the Musical, which was a show where people could break into song and to communicate their feelings towards another person as you would in the movies or in a stage musical. In the middle of life, you break in a song, and we would help people do that. And it was a fun show. Yeah.
So I want to get the details in here. So January 26th and 27th are the next shows. And then February, was it 20th and 21st, I think you said?
21st and 22nd.
Okay. And so it's at Oscars. And let me make sure we get these details right. It is a dinner show, correct?
Yes, you can have dinner. You can have food and drink before the show or during the show, including dinner. Or you could have appetizers. You could just have drinks. That's up to you.
Okay.
But they are offered. There's a full menu at Oscars. We're in the showroom indoors. Oscars has a fantastic patio outside that they have shows at, but we are inside in the showroom.
Yeah. Okay, and for tickets, now I know Oscars' main phone number, 760-325-1188. Is that where people would call to get tickets?
No, you would go to the website. Okay. It's OscarsPalmSprings.com.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, Oscars with the plural, PalmSprings.com. All one word.
Yeah. Mid-Century Modern's a new musical, and some of the music is featured as stuff from Tom Jones, Petula Clark, Lesley Gore, Frank Sinatra, the Association of the Monkeys. You've got to see the show. If you have not seen this, it is such a fun show, so entertaining. Thank you so much, Dan, and Mark Christopher as well, for bringing this to Palm Springs. It's a wonderful show, and I wish you great success. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much, Bonnie.
All right, have a wonderful day. Dan Gelfand with producing Mid-Century Moderns. Go see it at Oscars. And we'll see you next time on The Desert Scene.